and then perfect, and then we'll jump into it. So, hello everybody, welcome to, like I said, our last day of honors votes. Today's a little bit over a week until November 3rd, which is pretty scary. So we're really excited for you. We're really happy that you're here and you're getting engaged civically. And today we're going to be talking about something really important. So we're going to be talking about going beyond just your vote. Okay, so a lot of people wonder, what more can they do outside of just voting, or maybe you can't vote, or you don't have that ability just yet. So how can you get involved? How can you make your voice heard, outside of just voting? So we have a very, very special organization here with us today and some very special students. So we have LYVE, which stands for Let Your Voices Echo. If you haven't heard about them, definitely make sure to check them out and get involved with them. They're incredible. So a little bit about LYVE. LYVE is an independent project led by FIU students Melanie Rodriguez and Frederick Aurelian. LYVE addresses issues of social justice and their inherent connection to the arts. LYVE aims to engage with members of the FIU community, both students and faculty, to reflect on social issues through open discussion that simultaneously fosters a deeper appreciation for the arts, which is incredible. And I love working with them. They're awesome. A little bit about Melanie. Melanie is a first-generation junior, double majoring in exceptional student education and English with a certificate in exile studies. Currently, she serves as the campus director for the Millennium Fellowship, which is a major part of LYVE's origin story. And we just talked about that in our podcast with Yenny Simon from the Global Learning Office. She's incredible. And if you want to hear about the Millennium Fellowship, reach out to Melanie. Check out that podcast. Reach out to Yenny. But a little bit more about Melanie. Overall, she's passionate about enacting social change by combining her passion for the arts with her dedication to activism, youth education, and social justice. Currently, in her free time, you can find her volunteering for a local school board campaign and encouraging others to become politically engaged. And then we also have Fred, the one and only Fred. Check out his music; he's incredible. Frederick is a senior student here at FIU, majoring in philosophy, and he works for the Student Support Services program here on campus as the peer mentor coordinator. He is also an audio engineer and rap artist passionate about using his voice. So, like I said, check out his music. He's awesome. But without further ado, let me let Amanda in. But without further ado, hey Amanda, I'll pass it over to LYVE so they can get started with their I can't speak now. Amanda made me nervous. So we can so you guys can get started with your presentation. That's the word I'm looking for. But yes, if you're thinking about getting involved and you've been wondering on how you can get involved outside of just voting, this is the presentation for you. So thank you all for joining. Go ahead.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us all on a Friday. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about what you can do beyond your vote, right? So let's take it a little bit further with only 11 days left until the election, how you can get engaged in your community and how you can stay engaged beyond the election. So, oops, I skipped a slide. But Antigua pretty much covered all of this. So this is just who we are. If you have any questions about anything we've done, like right now, the Mlk Scholarship is open. You can reach out to Fred or myself about that. Or if you have any questions about the Millennium Fellowship, you can also reach out to myself about that. Or if you're just interested in the arts in general, reach out to both of us.
Really quickly, just to interrupt really for a quick second, like she said, the Mlk Scholarship is up and you all received an email about that yesterday. So check out some more info about that if you're interested in your email, your 2020 Honors College FYIs that I sent out, and reach out to them if you have any questions. And then also FIU Day of Service is happening as well. So if you're interested in getting involved with that, that's also in the email that we sent out to you yesterday.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. So what is LYVE? You also heard that during our introduction. So the introduction was very thorough, but yes, it's basically, it's a student-led organization created by Fred and myself to pretty much engage with issues of social justice through the arts. So to facilitate these conversations and have these activities that are arts-based and show, the process of artivism, which we're going to talk a little bit about later on, and what it really means for our community. So you can stay engaged with us at Let Your Voices Echo on Instagram, and we'll be posting some upcoming events that we have on there. And so for today, like we said, we're just going to go a little bit about how can you go beyond the vote, right? So like we said earlier, like if you can't vote or if you already have and you just want to stay more engaged, there's definitely many ways to do this. And Fred's going to go over some of the ones that, we're going to talk about, but it's not just limited to this. There's definitely way more that's available out there. But for the time being,
Okay, guys. Well, first, I want to thank Enrique again for the SoundCloud plugin. Follow me on SoundCloud. And Melanie, obviously for doing a great job with introducing us. So, like Melanie said, guys, the election is 11 days away. This is a very important election. Definitely going to go down in the books. No matter which way it goes. But we want to talk about how us, not just as students, but as American citizens and as citizens of the world, how we can go beyond the vote, because it's more than just waking up. Like, all right, let's call me back in another 4 years. It's like what we can do every day to try and make our world a better place, or a place that you would want to live in, or for your kids to live in. So this is a short list, and we're going to go more into depth about the particularities of each of these. So I'm sure we've all seen petitions. That's one way to do it. Contacting your officials, protesting is another massive form of raising awareness. Volunteering and donating, a very important way to help fund and expand grassroots organizations or organizations that you believe in. And running for office, don't sleep on that one either. So yeah, let's go to the next slide. Right. So I'll just start, and then I guess Melanie will take it back and forth from there. So signing petitions. So on the left, you see the Justice for George Floyd. That was one of the actually, I guess don't quote me on this, but I know that it raised a lot of money, more than many other. I mean, it had a lot of signatures. I mean, more than many other petitions did on change.org. And it brought about a lot of conversations when it came to policing and minority communities and etc. But petitions are very effective. I know it may seem just like, okay, I'm going to sign my name on this, then what's going to happen? But online petitions, if they get enough traction, basically it helps to raise awareness. So it lets media outlets know that, okay, there's something that's important that people are talking about, or that that's gaining a lot of attention. Let's see what it is. And if it goes on local media outlets and even national media outlets, then it raises awareness to the issue to the point that it becomes a national conversation or a dialogue, as you've seen with George Floyd. I mean, it was more so the video, but petitions in many cases do help to accomplish this. Um, yeah, it forces mainstream media to engage with the problems at hand, even media outlets that may not have picked up the story, because once others do it, then they're going to want to do it as well. Um, Mobilize. So petitions help to mobilize people. I'm sure that when you sign the petition, maybe they ask for an email, or possibly some of them even ask for donations. Um, but when you sign a petition, sometimes there's like an action step after, or a call to action, something that you can do after just signing it. And this is a great way to like get people into an issue and then get them further involved within the issue. So it's a great tool for raising awareness and for mobilizing individuals. And then, like said, yeah, raising awareness. So yeah, so it can encourage individuals. Right. The most important thing is that it can encourage individuals to take other actions, like raising money or contacting representatives or engaging in volunteer work, just to name a few.
And then along with signing petition, there's also creating your own petition, right? So let's say there's an issue you're really passionate about, something you're seeing that's happening and you want to raise awareness for it. The one that we saw previously was created by a 15-year-old. So this is really open to anyone, right? Anyone can take this action. So the first thing you want to do when you create a petition is that you want to research your subject, right? This will make it really easy for people to understand what you're demanding and why it's important. So instead of giving some sort of broad statement, you want to make sure that you give very specific reasons so people can't either misinterpret it or just not understand what it is that you're really asking for. You want to be as clear as possible. There's also a lot of specific guidelines many times for petitions that you want to make sure to follow. So some petitions might require a specific number of signatures, or they may require a specific website, or they may require a specific form in order to be counted and presented according to who you're working with. And then you need to develop your statement of purpose, right? So this is your very specific goal, like we said. This specific goal is what you're going to use to talk to everyone you know and just spread awareness as much as you can about the issue at hand. So there's many different websites for creating the petitions, and you can just research which one is going to be the best one. Change.org tends to be very popular for a lot of petitions, like we just saw. But this is the way that you're going to effectively brand your demand and ask others to join you.
Right. So, like Melanie said, just it's gonna be a great way to brand your ideas and your messages and your motives. Or when you see a petition, realize that that's what they're doing, and like said, to mobilize people. So, I hope we didn't go too fast on that one, but another great tool to use when trying to make a change beyond the vote is contacting your officials. Now I know, you know, it's not, you probably don't think on the everyday, like you can just call up your local politician or your local mayor or something. But you can, in a lot of ways, you can reach out to them. So calling your representatives in large volumes. So say you have a group of friends and you guys want to call your representative to make an issue known. You can all call at the same time or at similar times, and that can bring the office to a stop, sometimes forcing you know, the legislator or the person in office to put out a statement on their position on the specific circumstances. You know, when they're getting phone calls back to back to back, and you know, a lot of the interns and workers there, you know, can't do much beyond that. It definitely sends a message out. um, a lobby visit is a great way to reach out to your politicians. I mean, to your representatives, face to face. You know, so you can go with a group of friends, family, anybody, strangers, and you know, you let them know face to face how you feel about certain issues. You tell them your stories relating to certain issues. So, for example, one may be the price of tuition. You know, college, the price of going to college has, you know, continued to increase and increase over the years. And somebody going in to tell their story about that, you know, it can really affect people. We always see when there are debates or primaries or something like that, a certain political figure may bring up a story of someone that they met, and that's because these stories truly do impact these individuals. You know, they're human beings. They're gonna be empathy for the most part. Right. But anyway, they're human beings, so they're gonna connect with you, and and you know, it's gonna stick with them. Town halls are another great way to meet with your local representatives and you know, uh, fellow citizens, basically just coming together to discuss issues and talk about it and debate about it even. So definitely figure out, you know, where your next local town halls may be taking place, and their websites to do this. Um, so yeah, you know, contacting officials is a great way to raise awareness and to contact, yeah, to, you know, to them. Yeah.
Definitely. And we're going to show you some of the websites right now that we have here. So this first one has to do with how to contact your officials. Give me 1 second. There's so many windows open. Okay, there you go. So this first one has to do with how to contact your elected officials. So you're going to go on usa.gov/elected-officials. And this one will break it down by categories, right? So you have your federal offices, your state offices, your local offices, and basically in each one you'll put in, you know, it'll either be like your address or your zip code or something like that, and it'll give you everyone's phone number by who they are and what they do, and you can contact them, and it'll probably give you like emails, phone numbers, things like that, and it just really breaks it down so you know exactly who to contact for what. It's also useful to research which issue you want to present to this local official, because let's say that you're talking about a specific issue, like something, you know, related to like, I don't know, something that has to do with your city government, right? And then you reach out to your state senator. They might be able to point you to the right person, but they're not necessarily going to be able to do anything about it. So perhaps doing a little bit of research beforehand will be able to like make your time more effective and reach out to who you know you want to reach out to. And so this other one, townhallproject.com, will basically show you all the town halls that are happening soon. And you can put in your zip code for that one as well. And on this page right now, you'll see a lot of them are phone-ins and things like that. Obviously, because of the pandemic, most gatherings are suspended. So if you want to look at if there's any town halls happening, and you can also request them for your official. So if you see that there's a lot there's not a lot going on in your state or in your zip code, and you want to be able to have these interactions with your officials, you can, write to them and request that as well, because that's a service that they should be providing.
Yeah, so like just to add on to what Melanie said, like at the end of the day, these are public service offices that they hold. So, they work for the people, they work for you. So, if you don't see them working enough, you can definitely get through to work.
All right. And then we also have protesting. So protesting is a really powerful way of showing a group of people all coming together for the same cause. Obviously, right now, one of the most important things is, keeping your health and make sure you're following all like guidelines, public health guidelines to make sure everyone's, staying safe and all of that. But these demonstrations are really a way for people to see a large gathering, a mass gathering, and realize, that there's a problem that needs to be addressed in our society. So there's many different forms that a protest can take. A lot of the times we think of it as just this mass march, but there's so many things that can count as a protest. So, if we have a boycott and everyone decides to boycott a specific company or a specific place because of something they've done, that can have an impact, and that's a form of protest as well. Picketing, we've seen a lot. Sit-ins, we've seen all throughout history, all throughout the civil rights movement. It's a really powerful way as well. Recently, we saw groups like March for Our Lives do it, where young students were going into the Capitol and conducting these sit-ins. So it's really something that can have a powerful effect as well. Vigils might not seem like a protest, but in a way they are, depending on what the issue is. It's people coming together to reflect on something that happened. And most of the time, vigils also ask for some sort of action item or some sort of step. So strikes are also very effective. In some states, they're not permitted for certain things, but in other states, we've seen teachers go on strike, and that definitely has a huge impact, because if schools are closed, that's affecting everyone. That's affecting parents. That's affecting the students. So it's definitely something that can have a very great effect on a population. And then we also have teach-ins. So recently, I believe FIU has hosted a couple of teach-ins, and this is a great opportunity for people to come together and learn about an issue that they're not necessarily familiar with, and understand why this issue is coming to light in the first place. And then, of course, we have mass marches, which we've seen all throughout history, and just really play a big role in being able to mobilize people and bring awareness and attention to an issue. So beyond that, you can also organize a protest for something that you're passionate about or that you haven't seen covered. So something that's super important for this is to be able to plan your strategy, and to find a group of like-minded people that will really join you in taking this action. So you can also from here build a sort of network, a sort of coalition. So you can collect, whoever attends, you can ask them for their email or their phone number, and just pretty much builds like this group of advocates that you will keep with you for longer than just that one protest. So you can also give them a call to action after your protest. So a lot of the times people will ask others that attend a protest to either call their representatives about that issue, or ask people to help organize the next protest or the next event that you all want to have. So this is definitely ways that you can get involved that start locally, and even forming different student groups on campus for different issues that you're passionate about or things like that are not necessarily a straight up form of a mass march protest, but it'll be a way to be able to advocate for the issues that you're passionate about.
Yeah, so like Melanie said, the protest is a great way to get your message to let your voices be heard, let your voices echo, and to also find like-minded people, and not just, oh, okay, that was a cool protest, but maybe plan the next protest, or plan the next strategy or tactic that you'll use to further propagate your message and your ideals or ideas. So the next one is volunteering. So there are plenty of grassroots organizations. I'm not going to say there's enough. There's never enough. We always need to build new ones, but also to continue to build ones that already exist and that many people have laid a foundation for and a framework for. So these are organizations that you can volunteer for. Um, uh, Now, like they, grassroots organizations have a lot of work on their plates. They have a lot of things that they have to do. Um, and obviously they probably can't employ, put as many people on a payroll as they would need to get all the work that they want to get done, finished. So volunteering, donating your time just as well as donating your money, or donating your time is just as effective, if not, in some cases more effective than actually donating your money. Um, and also, just for you, volunteering is an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to actually be inside of that that sort of space and meet other like-minded individuals and learn what it's like. Um, and it's a way that you can take action, and be hands-on with whatever it is that you're doing. Um, whether it has to do with homelessness or feeding people or cleaning up, like the FIU Nature Reserve or whatever. It's a great way to get involved and get hands-on with certain issues. Um, yeah.
Awesome. And we interrupt this session for a quick commercial break for the next Honors Votes event happening. So this right here is one way that you can take action and volunteer tomorrow. So this is the National Phonathon by Student Pergs, and you can go ahead and sign up at that link. And I believe there'll be training sessions at the top of every hour from 11 to 5. So you can go ahead and just, talk to other students in Florida, ask them to come out and vote. And then Thika, if you want to say anything else about this, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, I really loved this opportunity when it came up. And it was at the perfect time because, I was like, the last event of our Honors Votes Week is with LYVE, and it's going to be about going beyond the vote. And then students who are interested can literally take that next step the next day on Saturday if they'd like to. So if you haven't volunteered or phone banked before, I know it can sound really scary. This is the first year I've ever done anything like that. I've never and it was scary at first, but once you start getting those conversations going, it's really easy. And this is not going to be like political. You're not going to be like asking anybody who they're voting for or what's going on. You're basically going to be calling. This is a nonpartisan organization, like everything we do with honors. So basically, you're going to be calling students from all over Florida to ask them, to vote early and to ask them if they've made a plan. So you're just asking people to vote. Basically, you're advocating for voting because it is National Vote Early Day. So it's a lot of fun. It's going to be great. I'm going to be making a little speech about honors and honors votes at 1. And feel free to sign up. You can go to hon.fiu.edu/phone bank. And at the top of, like Melanie said, at the beginning of every hour, there's going to be a training. So you're not going to go in there blind. You're going to know what to do, and you're going to know what to say. And then also, if you want some student pergs free merch for their new voter project, okay. I sent an email to everybody yesterday. I can actually send it to you, Melanie and Fred, as well, if you guys want some. They're actually giving away free shirts and free masks for their new voter project, and it's like 100% free. Like even shipping is included. So all you have to do is follow the link in the email that I sent you, and you can just basically just order them for free. It's one per person, obviously, so you can get a new voter project shirt and the mask from Student Pergs for free as well. But make sure to join us tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah. And phone banking definitely sounds a little scary, especially, getting used to more of like the texting email world. But, it is really fun. And you're able to connect with other people and, share your story, like, and just get other people to mobilize and really take action, like what we've been talking about so far.
Yeah. And guys, if you have any questions like about the phone banking or how to sign up, any further questions, or even about anything that we say or bring up, definitely don't be afraid to like type it in the chat, and we'll get to it. Or even if you just want to like interrupt me, definitely, and we can answer that.
Awesome, definitely. And so going back to some of the action steps that you can take, donating is a big one. It really helps organizations and just different campaigns and things like this be able to run effectively. So one of the most important things that you can do when you're donating or asking someone to donate is to make sure to research the organization that you're looking at and that you're thinking of donating to. So a lot of the times, unfortunately, people take advantage of some situations and use
Oh,
it,
wait, really quickly, Melanie. So sorry to interrupt you. Just want to
no
answer this
problem.
question before we move forward. Elena, just asked in the chat, can you better clarify how phone banking works? Yeah. So just to clarify that before we move forward, phone banking it's really easy. It's basically just you get a list of phone numbers to call, and you basically just dial them and you have a conversation with the person on the other line about a whole variety of topics. You can phone bank for specific campaigns. You can phone bank for specific organizations. But the one that we're going to do tomorrow, you're basically just going to be calling people, calling other students, so young people just like you from around Florida, to talk to them about voting. So really, you're just making calls to talk to people, with student perks to encourage others to vote. So just making a phone call, really. And let me drop this in the chat really quickly. Here's the link for the free shirt and mask if you want one. It's 100% free. So I thought that was really cool of them to offer that to our students. And there you go. I hope that answers your question. I'm not sure if that answers, Elena. I hope it
Good,
does.
thank you.
Okay. Your favorite price friend.
All right, awesome. So, like I was saying, a lot of the times people take advantage of situations to raise funds or like deceive people into like putting their funds somewhere that's not necessarily legitimate. So you really want to make sure that you're looking at, is this the right organization? Is this like a verified organization? Like sometimes people might have similar names or something like this. You really want to look into their mission, like, who they've worked with before, things like that, to make sure that, you're donating where you really want your money to go. So it really helps support organizations. Like it helps organizations be able to keep thriving. Like Fred said, a lot of the times might not have the funds to be able to employ as many people as they need to be able to get this work done. So by donating and by asking others to donate, you're really helping sustain these organizations and to keep these movements as a whole alive by being able to fuel them, and being able to have more people out there mobilizing and, speaking about these issues.
Yeah, great point. Donating money super important for organizations and nonprofit organizations. Now, raising awareness is something we've spoken about a lot, and we've mentioned some different tools that we as a people can use to raise awareness. We mentioned petitions, protesting, speaking directly to our representatives. Now, us living in the 21st century, in the information age, we have um, another very powerful tool that people before us didn't have, and that's TikTok. And I'm just playing social media in general, Instagram, Twitter. This is where a lot of us get our news, and a lot of us share information with one another. So never underestimate the power of social media. So using hashtags. Um, Black Lives Matter started off as a hashtag, and you've seen how over the years how powerful it's become, not just as a hashtag on the internet, but as an actual organization. So this can happen for anything, anything that you want to see happen. Um, yeah, when things start trending, it takes people's attention, and it's all about taking attention on social media. And so it's a great way to raise awareness on a particular subject. Word of mouth is also a very underrated form of raising awareness. It's always going to be unmatched. More than just sharing something, actually speaking to people about it, whether it's your friends or your family members. It's a great way to actually have not just throw it in their mind, and then and then next thing TV's on, and then they're watching something else, but to actually have a dialogue about it, and to wrestle a little bit sometimes. You may not agree 100% with everything all your family members think or say, or all your friends think or say, and it's a great way to actually have communication and you know, speak with people about it. Your voice matters.
Definitely. And just to add on to that, like your social circle is a lot bigger than you think, you know. If you reach out to maybe three friends, and they know another three friends and they know another three friends, like you're really able to get this message across, you know, a lot more than you maybe originally think you can. And a lot of the times, like votes in some elections can come down to really just a couple of votes, especially for local elections. A lot of the times, which these are like super defining elections, you know, whether it's running for mayor, your local school board, or like your city councilman or something like this, those races can really play a critical impact in your day-to-day lives, because they really make decisions that affect you on the daily. And a lot of the times these votes can come down to just a few hundred people. So if you're able to reach out to everyone you know, and ask them, you know, to why this specific issue is important to you or something like that, it can really make all the difference.
Yeah, just piggybacking on what Melanie said, like sharing something that says, you know, go vote, and the difference between that and telling maybe your mom or your sister or your brother, like, yo, go vote, you know, or when are you going to vote? You know, like Enrique has the phone banking, you know, calling people and saying, do you know that early voting is still on? It's still open. Are you planning on voting? You know, speaking to somebody, you're definitely going to get, uh, I think it's more likely that you're going to get a stronger reaction than just them being able to like scroll past something or like skip an ad or something like that.
Yes, and one quick thing I want to interrupt. I'm so sorry. One more time.
No,
You can
sure.
also get volunteer hours for phone banking if you volunteer tomorrow. So you can put that into your My Honors thing, and I'll approve it. You can put my info as your contact person, and you can get volunteer hours, which is super cool.
There you go, 2 in 1.
All right, and that brings us to our favorite slide, which is run for office. So you can run for office, and like a lot of the times we might not realize this, right? But this is really such a powerful step to take if you feel like, you know, maybe you feel like there aren't enough people in office, you know, doing the action steps that you think they should be doing, or you know someone that you think would be really great to be able to take public office. You know, encourage them to run or like run yourself. And there's really a lot of ways to do this, which we don't always know of. There's a lot of programs, you know, a lot of nonpartisan programs, some specific to different parties. So depending on, you know, what you want to get involved with, that will help train you, and will help get you ready and prepared to run. So these are just some examples of the ones that will prepare you to run. So for example, Running Start is a nonpartisan organization dedicated specifically to helping young women prepare to run for office. So you can take a look and research, you know, a bunch of these different organizations that exist that can help you be able to prepare yourself to run for office. And it's really such an important step. Or, you know, nominate someone to one of these programs that you think is going to be able to do an excellent job, or that you think has the qualities. And a lot of the times, you know, when we think of running for office, we think of the idea of money, right? If I don't raise enough money, I can't run for office. I can't even put my name on the ballot. But for a lot of races, you can qualify by petition. So if you can just gather enough people, and it's difficult, you have to go door by door, like stand outside and, you know, have people like come up and talk to them. And it takes a long time, but it's really, it's possible. You know, you will have to qualify for certain positions. You know, you will have to raise a certain amount of money later on, but you are able to qualify, you know, by petition. And it's a long and tedious process, but it's possible. So it's really just a matter of, you know, doing your research and really surrounding yourself with people who are going to help you. You really want to have a strong network if you decide to do this.
Right. And just to add on to what Melanie said, you know, because this is my favorite slide too. Um, Running for office, um, you know, a lot of times we don't realize like how long a lot of public officials stay in office for, and not even just because they're so great, but because like they literally have no competition, or like, you know, not a great opposition, I mean, um and not you know, a great force like bringing up another voice. An example, we for LYVE, we had we screened Knock Down the House, right? With AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Um, and she's an example of an everyday worker, you know, deciding to run for office and challenging an incumbent that was there for years. I don't know how many years. I forget how many years they said he was in for. but you know, and she was able to win that seat. So you know, never underestimate that. If you don't see what you want, like you have to, that phrase says you have to be the change that you want in the world. So sometimes you just got to be that, you know, that candidate, or nominate somebody that you think could do that. That's also a great, you know, thing too.
Joseph Crowley was in office from 1999 to 2019.
Bruh, 1999 to 2019, bro, that's 20 years. You know, and it's like that's 20 years, bro. That's 2 decades. Like I'm literally 22. So I mean, it's insane, and even Melanie's working with somebody I know that is going up against an incumbent that's been there for a while, for like some years, some crazy amount of years.
Also 20 years. So
Yeah, man, what
it's, yeah.
guys? So you know, don't be afraid to take that chance, take that leap. You can definitely do it. All you got to do is believe in yourself, and then I believe that the people will believe in you afterward. Oh yeah, right. This is my slide. How can you get involved creatively?
All right, so a little bit that we mentioned earlier on was the idea of artivism, right? So we want to talk a little bit about where this comes from, what it is, and how it relates to what we're talking about today. Like suddenly we're talking, you know, about getting a bit engaged civically and things like that, and now we're transferring it over to art. But artivism is basically the combination of art and activism. So artivism is really a place where creative people or artists or anyone that wants to participate in a creative way is able to make their thoughts and their voice known through creative expression. So artivism stems from a 1997 gathering of Chicano artists in East Los Angeles with the Zapatistas. And basically, this is where they came together for the first time and kind of, you know, developed this concept. This is as early as it can be traced, but, you know, just looking back through history, it can be traced like, you know, for a longer time before there was an official word for it. So this mural that you see right here is one of 9 murals by the Neighborhood Mural Pride Program in LA, and basically it's called ofrenda, and it's in English ofrenda means offering. So this is an offering to Dolores Huerta, and basically Dolores Huerta, for those of you who are not familiar, a lot of the times we hear of Cesar Chavez, but Dolores Huerta was right there along with him, co-founding the United Farm Workers of America. And this is really just a way that, you know, you can pay tribute to a place's history, or, you know, a person that had a great impact on the current situations that we have today. So this is a great example, I think, of artivism and how people can come together, and just something that you might pass by on the street and see and be like, oh, that's a cool mural. But like you have to understand, you know, that there's some sort of story behind it and there's a meaning to it that we might not necessarily understand. But when you look at it, it's really a form of creating civic engagement, because someone might stop by there and say, oh, who is this dedicated to? And like read the information card and, you know, learn about Dolores Huerta for the first time, or learn about the farm workers movement for the first time. So artivism really has a powerful way in the way that we see social issues in our day-to-day lives. And it's really just a great way to get people involved indirectly sometimes.
Yeah, so artivism can take many different forms. On social media, like the leftmost picture, you've probably seen this picture or a picture similar to this, where it's been used to spread information as well, because people like pictures, you know, and people like visuals, and it's attractive, and it's a way that you can get people into it. So Miami is I mean, I'm from New York City, but Miami is a place where like there's so much art. Like, I mean, in certain places in Miami, there's like so much graffiti and art, like around the place, and you know, it definitely captures attention. And so, like the last slide that we showed, like that's another great way to show people. In some places, you may find a mural of like Kobe Bryant, because he represents something. He can inspire people, you know, or Obama or anybody. Um, Another example is the second one with Breonna Taylor. So I believe this was when Oprah Winfrey, instead of I forgot what magazine it was, but instead of having her face on the cover of that magazine for that month or whatever it was, she decided to use her platform as a way to raise awareness on this issue, because a lot of times a lot of people don't have that platform, and you never hear of these stories, you know. But artists, as well as art, you know, is a way to elevate awareness. And on the farmost right, you have Ahmaud Arbery. You know, just another great example of using art to raise awareness and to you know, to talk about issues within our society and within our little microcultures as well.
Definitely.
Sorry, Melanie. Any questions or any comments? You know, definitely feel free to. Okay, I know we kind of lit in the chat. Okay, cool. But definitely feel free to, you know, open your mic and ask any questions at any time.
Awesome, definitely. And just to kind of sum up this whole idea of artivism that we've been talking about, really the idea of artivism is to use art to create social change. And by art, you know, we've mentioned some specific painting examples right now, but it's not only limited to that. It can be any form of art. So whether you're a graphic designer, you're a musician, you're an artist, you're a dancer, like there's so many ways to be able to express, you know, a social issue through the arts, because it's something that is universal and can be spoken about. So someone from any and that speaks any language, any culture might see something and it impacts them in a way, and then therefore introduces them to this issue.
Great. And Elena asked a question in the chat. She said, on regards to the global learning, how can we receive the points, especially since the log asks for a signature, room, and such? And as well, may I use pictures from your slides to create my e-portfolio?
Well, when it comes to the points, I can tell you that I'm going to extract all your information from the Zoom call, so I can send it over to Yenny from Global Learning to make sure that you get the points for this.
Yeah, and in terms of our slides, definitely, we'll have our contact information at the end, so you can definitely feel free to send us an email, and we'll send you a copy of, you know, whatever slides that you need or anything like that. All right, and so now we're gonna go into this short video by some people that you may recognize, John Legend and Jesse Williams. They're gonna talk a little bit about, you know, how art and activism is involved in their lives, you know, and some of the challenges that come along with involving yourself in activism when you have a platform and you are a public figure, essentially.
What most people might not know is that you're really politically engaged, you're really vocal about issues of social justice. When did you first kind of start engaging with learning about social justice?
I thought that even as a kid that if I was going to live an important life, I had to do something to make social change. And one of the things we did often as kids was take trips to the county library, which was a few minutes from our house. We would go there and our parents told us to go in and pick out books we wanted to read. And I always gravitated toward books about social justice, particularly social justice heroes that made me feel proud to be Black and understand the history of my people in America.
Similarly, I started at a very young age. It was started in the home. When I came home, my dad had a stack of homework for me, his own assignments for me, his own articles for me to read and write about. Any entertainment or music that I had was pretty Afrocentric or centered around like Black culture and politics.
Jesse, talk to me about who your role models were.
Bob Marley was an incredible activist and voice and vessel, you know, a prophet in many ways. Fela Kuti, James Brown, just gods among men on this earth. That Nina Simone, it really helped me really appreciate the value of the dependence that we have on artists and storytellers as our broadcasters, as those who dictate what is reality, what has value, and our place in the world.
We stay inspired by those people because they showed us the way. They showed us how artists can contribute to the conversation. They showed us what it meant to take risks in your career, to bring up these issues that are really important, that may make some people uncomfortable, that may make some people say they don't want to buy your records anymore because, you know, they don't like your particular political stance.
Artists in many ways are stewards and a barometer for what's happening and what's to come. in terms of where people's consciousness is. We can't divorce the role of artists from the role of actual activists and organizers and the people's movement for moving organizations and policies forward and affecting legislation and affecting human lives.
Yeah, we have the microphone, we have influence, we have followers, we have people paying attention to what we say. And so we have the power to help shape the conversation and help highlight important issues.
We can do both. John could be a genius musical creator and be creative and be aware of what's happening around him. You don't have to make that choice.
That's the challenge of creating great, powerful, meaningful art is being able to draw that connection to make people feel something. It is a certain kind of pressure, but it's a good kind of pressure. It's the kind of pressure that creates diamonds.
It's about what we do, to paraphrase James Baldwin, you know, why should I believe you when I can see what you do?
All right, so I saw Fred clapping there, but yeah, I mean, I've seen this video so many times, but every single time, you know, you pick up on something new. So kind of just talking about all of this, and you know what artivism is, and now that you've seen in it a couple different forms, you know, as a visual artist, as a musician, are there any ways that you've witnessed artivism in your daily life? You know, from maybe thinking on a song that you've heard or a certain mural you've seen or anything like that, that you can think of that you might have not necessarily known was artivism at the time, but now that you're thinking back on it, you're like, oh wow, that's what it was. So feel free to unmute yourself or put it in the chat. But just for context, this mural that you see here was created by the Performing Institute of Minnesota Arts High School. So this is a tuition-free public high school that allows young students to pretty much, I mean, it's pretty cool. I don't know if my school would have let me like paint a mural on the side of it, but it's pretty cool to see, you know, how young people can also have a change. So let's say you're not able to vote because of your age in this case, you're able to take a stance on some of the issues you care about in a creative way through this type of engagement, since it's not limited to a certain age.
Yeah, so I mean, sorry, for me, I guess starting out as one of the examples of artivism that I've witnessed in my daily life, I think a big one was Childish Gambino and his song "This Is America" and the visual with it. I think like, because I remember that moment, it was a real moment, I think, in American culture in general, where like people just saw this shocking visual and, you know, all started like talking about it, and it was being shared and it was trending, and it brought up the issues of Black Lives Matter, of, you know, mass shootings, of a whole bunch of different things, or even like a movie like even a movie like Get Out, or like Black Panther. Like I feel like those were ways that artivism was used as well.
And I see Elena put in the chat, from what I can recall, there's a mural in Miami-Dade Kendall campus Stairway Library, and it's demonstrating America and its freedom. Yeah, so it can be all around us, and we don't even necessarily stop enough to realize it. But you know, it's there, and the artist had a purpose behind it. I know for me personally, I really like Sarah Bareilles. I think she's a great singer-songwriter, and she put together her last album, and you wouldn't think of it from just listening to it, but you know, when you really analyze the lyrics and you look at, you know, some of the things she's talking about, like it's really a form of artivism. And I think it's really powerful to be able to see that, and to be able to have a platform that big and you know, still contribute to the conversation around social change. Like we saw in the video, I believe Jesse Williams said that, you know, artists are really a form of a broadcaster. Like they have this powerful platform to be able to amplify their message to so many people, and that's, you know, incredible. Like we've seen throughout history, at marches, things like that, like artists play a vital role. A lot of the times people, you know, they might not necessarily feel comfortable going to the protest, but then they hear, oh, such and such artist is going to perform, and they're like, well, you know what, I might as well go to be able to see this artist. So it's really interesting, like how many ways like artists can really shape the conversation around a certain issue, or just help move an issue along in that way.
Yeah, sorry, bro. Even Michael Jackson just wanted to, you know, throw that in there. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Can I share one artivism example that I really love? Check this out. I'm gonna share. Can I share my screen real quick? Actually.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, check this out. This is one of my favorite photographers
Mm.
ever. He is a photographer from Brooklyn, and he focuses a lot on the Black experience. And he uses, the way that he photographs is just so inspiring to me. And this is a picture that he posted in June. And he talks about, I listened to podcasts with him. He talks a lot about how this is like a reflection of himself. But I just love this picture. And he's also been to like some of the protests, and like he partnered with civil rights for and still I vote, to promote voting. And he went to some of these like, marches that they had been doing. But just the way that he takes pictures is incredible to me. But I really love this one picture of because you can tell all the emotion behind it, and like the experience that he's having in America. So yeah, check him out, Andre D. Wagner. He's pretty incredible. I'll stop doing this now. How do I get out of here? Oh, there you go.
Nah, yeah, that's a great example, and that reminded me of how like photos can be used. Photos are used as a form of artivism. Seeing photos that inspire people or that document history. Great example.
Yeah, definitely. Photos are so important, especially because a lot of the times people, if they don't necessarily see something, they might not be able to relate to it as much, or they might not understand it as much. But being able to really see something is super powerful. So photographers have a pretty important role in history and in media.
Right. And sorry, Melanie, I just wanna, because it just reminded me of something that we spoke about a while ago. Um, like sometimes maybe in your history textbooks, when you were going over the civil rights movement in America, you probably saw like a lot of like black and white photos of Martin Luther King or something like that. Um, but I believe like Melanie told me like they had colored pictures back then. Like it could have been shown in color, or perhaps it was taken in color, but it was made black and white so that it could seem even farther in history from what it actually is. So photos can definitely be a way to document history and even subtly control perception in some ways. Crazy stuff.
Definitely. And that, that can be a whole other conversation in itself about, the way that art is used to portray certain things can really have an impact on how people experience it and how people see it. So definitely, maybe they didn't have as many color photographs as they did black and white, but there were still some. And yet we only see, the black and white pictures. And when you think about it, something like the civil rights movement, it's only 60 years away. Like it's really not, that long ago. So how we use media to pretty much shape conversations is really important as well.
Oh yeah. So this is a great example that we wanted to take from Will Smith and Nelson Mandela. So I'm just gonna read these quotes directly from Will Smith. He posted this on Instagram actually. He said, when I first met Nelson Mandela, I burst into tears. He is one of the greatest heroes of my life. I was so inspired, I told him I wanted to quit my job. I wanted to follow him and go out into the streets. I wanted to fight. He smiled and said, no, you have to understand the power of what it is that you do. You must understand the hope that is cultivated by the art that you create. He told me not to force it and that when it was time, the call will speak to me. As I look at our world today, I am deeply impelled to action. The call has spoken to me, and I will humbly, gratefully, and aggressively respond. So, I mean, uh, seeing such a huge titan when it comes to social movements and civil rights of the people, say something about that when it comes to art or whatever it is that you do, whether you're an athlete, that goes like Muhammad Ali, Colin Kaepernick, LeBron James, or whatever, or you're an artist, believe in what it is that you do, or you're a scientist or whatever, like continue to do what you do, um, and in whatever way that you do it to make the world a better place or to make the world a place that you can further believe in. And we can all help in different ways, and I think we all have to help in different ways, or it's probably more effective that way.
Definitely. And I think, this just really goes to show like the importance of making sure that like your time, your gift, your talent, your energy, it's in the right space, right? And it's where you can really make the most impact. So let's say maybe you're not the person to be out at the protest, but you are the person that's creating the graphics that is behind that social movement, right? And it's really important to be able to identify, where you can make the most impact, where you feel the most comfortable, where you can enact the most change. So using your talent to fit what you need, and like Fred said, that doesn't necessarily have to be in the arts. Whether you're an athlete, whether you're a scientist, like Fred said, whether you're a chef, like I've seen, like Jose Andres, like he uses his talent to be able to provide for others in the community. And I think it's really, there's just such a wide range of being able to participate and engage with your community that we might not even realize just from a first glance.
Right. Just to jump off of Melanie's side again, like you don't have to be that person that's on the mic and or maybe like in the like you don't have to be that person, you know. Like you said, like being a chef, many ways you can use food to help people. Um, you know, I'm sure even like being a photographer, maybe initially would have thought like, how can I use this camera to help address systemic problems or whatever, you know. And there are ways to do that. You can find whatever it is that you're talented in, you can use that. You can use that for positivity, no matter what. You know, scientist, athlete, chef. You know, the list goes on.
Definitely. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and we're going to watch this short video as well with Congressman John Lewis speaking about the importance that music has had, throughout his life and has had in the civil rights movement. So it says, I think, a really interesting way of looking at it from someone, who participated in these movements and who was a major part of these movements, and just the impact that, art or someone lending their talents can have to someone else's energy.
I've said on many occasions that if it hadn't been for music, the civil rights movement would have been like a bird without wings. Music, it brought us together. It created a sense of solidarity. When we've been beaten, arrested, and jailed, sometimes someone would just start humming or singing a little song. People would just improvise. Someone would be marching from Selma to Montgomery after Bloody Sunday, would have a little guitar and just start.
Sorry, y'all, don't know what happened there. Give me 1 second.
I'd never seen that video of John Lewis. It's such a nice video.
Right. Rest in peace to John Lewis.
Do you need me to pull it up, Mel, maybe?
All right, got it. Let's go. Oh, it might be a screen share thing. Like all of a sudden Facebook doesn't let you screen share. So let's just listen to the audio.
Are you playing the audio?
Sorry?
Are you playing the audio right now? Oh, we can't hear it. I can't hear it.
Yeah, I can't hear it either.
All right. No, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm going to put it in the chat so you guys can watch it on your own later on. It used to work, but I don't know, maybe streaming rules or something have changed in the past month. But yeah, so it's at least you caught the first part, and that's basically what the entire video consists of is just talking about what impact music played and had in this social movement and how it was really a driving force. When people felt like they didn't want to keep going, like it was a terrible day, like they were just being beaten down at all forms, like physically, emotionally, whatever, they were just drained. It really helps to uplift you and just create a sense of unity when everyone's participating in a shared art.
So yeah, so now we spoke a lot about art and we spoke a lot about phone banking and protesting and volunteering. Um, but let's talk about some everyday activism. And some things that you can do every day to be an activist or just to be a person that helps to implement change. First you gotta change um, your life. Like Michael Jackson said, you gotta start with the man in the mirror. So you gotta be passionate, be passionate about what it is that you do, what it is that you're pursuing, um, and who, who you choose to identify yourself as. Um, educate yourself. Educating yourself is one of the most powerful and important ways to make a difference. And that sounds very cliche, but I'm another student like you. So like, trust me, like I'm telling you, like educating yourself is such a powerful weapon, such a powerful weapon, that you can use. And then to help to educate others and to know, have knowledge and wisdom. Um, take small steps, you know, you don't always have to try and go from point A to point, G. You know, take things a day at a time and take small steps. That way you can be patient with yourself. And with patience, comes consistency. And that's what's the most important thing, that you're consistent in what it is that you do, not that you just try and, you know, get straight to it, get straight to uh, the big, the big prize or whatever. But have a big vision, maintain a big vision, but taking small steps towards accomplishing that big vision, I think is ideal when it comes to setting out on any journey or task or goal. But never limit yourself, never be narrow-minded. If you have a big vision, you can accomplish anything that it is that you believe that you can. You know, anything you believe you can't is definitely off the table. So have a big vision and share your vision with other people. It's a great way to inspire other people and to actually see it come to life. Believe that you can make a difference. Um, that is um, the most important step in making a difference. Believing that you can make a difference. If you don't believe you can, um, then you probably won't even attempt to. And so, you probably never will. So first starts off with belief, um, which is like a unwavering, unshakable kind of optimism or kind of hope and resilience that no matter what, things can be better. And I have the power to make things better. You're not just like a spectator of the world, and all the external forces are outside of your control, but you do have an influence um, within this reality for sure.
Definitely. And along with everything Fred just said, given that this is Honors Votes Week, we just want to emphasize again the importance of voting. So whether you're unable to vote or you've already voted, make sure that you encourage others to. Like we talked about earlier, there's so much difference that, being able to mobilize other people to do this has. So, just getting that message out there as much as you can, if you know someone that's kind of like, well, I don't really think, I can make a difference. I don't really think this is going to count for anything or anything like that. Well, ask them to vote for you, right? Ask them to vote about the issues that matter to you. Tell them this is why it's really important to me and I don't have that ability. So if you could vote for me, that would be really making a difference. And that might be something that will persuade someone to be able to go out and vote, maybe if they weren't feeling super encouraged to begin with. But just making that personal connection, like Fred said, it's great to post some sort of flyer, something on social media that says go out and vote, but making that direct connection and reaching out to someone specifically might make all the difference for someone. And that's pretty much it for this session today, but we wanted to let you all know of an event we have coming up next week in collaboration with the Office of Global Learning Initiatives. So we're going to be presenting a virtual screening of a short film called Purple. So Purple was filmed in rural Wisconsin and Iowa. And it's a swing state region within 2 bordering states. And it's all about, you know, having these people all brought into a room together to confront opposing viewpoints and just talk through in like a healthy and respectful debate, right? So why are some things important to some of us? And what's a way that we can talk about these issues that might be so personal to some of us without necessarily, you know, whether it be like attacking each other or feeling like someone is telling you that you're wrong, etc. So it'll be a really interesting event to kind of hear this conversation and, you know, have some conversation afterwards about how that impacts our daily lives and how we've seen it somewhere like Miami versus somewhere like Wisconsin or Iowa. So this is a short film screening. It'll be from 6 to 7:30 next Wednesday, and you can RSVP at go.fiu.edu/live. So that's it for our event today. That's all we had for you all today. But thank you all so much for coming. And if you have any questions at all or any comments on what we went through today, feel free to put them in the chat right now or unmute yourself. And you can always contact us afterwards as well if you have any questions or are just looking for ways to get involved and someone to talk to.
Definitely. Thank you all so much for coming. Like Melanie and Fred said, it's so important, you know, and one thing that I really wanted to focus on, and students were even talking about it yesterday at our DC tour, our live DC tour. Some students were talking about how they don't have the ability to vote, you know, and that's a really big thing, especially in Miami. So if you don't have the ability to vote, I want you to know, and I'm sure that you got it from this presentation, that there's so many more things that you can do. And I'm sure that eventually you will be able to vote. But please, you know, there's so many more ways that you can get involved and have your voice heard. Talk to your friends, volunteer, you know, figure out, you know, if you're an artist, you know, figure out how you can use your art to spread messages for things that you want to change or things that you think are important. But then also, like Melanie said, you know, talk to your friends, and if you are a voter and you can vote and you're still thinking about how you can get involved, that's amazing. You know, please, you know, if you want to go beyond your vote, this is the perfect way to do it. There's so many ways that Melanie and Fred laid out that you can do so. And, you know, get in contact with LYVE, you know, run for office. I can't wait to see some of you guys, you know, run for office, and just don't forget about me. Give me a shout out, you know, whenever you're making a speech. But yes, definitely. Please do so. And please know that there's so much that you can do besides just voting. So don't let that stop you from thinking that you don't have a voice in this election, because you do. But yeah, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat before we sign off, or you can unmute your mic and say whatever you'd like to say. Anybody? Any questions?
I mean, no question, but I just want to say thank you for just the presentation and just the encouragement as a whole. I learned a lot that I was very ignorant about, and I just appreciate you guys. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for coming, Elena. That's awesome. I'm glad that you had a good time.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We're glad that you could take something from it. So for the last message, let your voices echo.
Awesome. Be safe, everybody. Have a good rest of your day then, okay?
All right, later, guys.
Bye, Melanie. Bye, Fred. You're awesome.
Thank you, bro, for having us.
Okay, we did it. Hey, you guys are seriously so great. I'm going to post this up on the My Honors archive and on our YouTube page. So I'll send that over to you guys if you guys want to repost with from LYVE, or so you can tell your people to watch it as well. You guys are awesome. Seriously. Thank you so much for doing this. It was so much fun.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
No problem. Have a good rest of your Friday, the last 15 minutes before 5, and be safe, okay?
All right, you too.
All right, see ya.
Bye, guys.